Hey everyone, welcome back. You ever think about like rewiring your brain, for wealth?
Well, I think it's safe to say that's like a universal desire, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So today we're going to dive deep into manifesting money and specifically looking at a couple of YouTube approaches that say you absolutely can do it.
Mm-hmm.
One promise is to manifest cash in just 3 days.
Okay.
And the other, well, let's just say it involves a kitchen makeover
Mm-hmm.
with some pretty unexpected ingredients.
Interesting. So we've got like the quick fix approach and the more symbolic environmental approach.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
curious to see how those two connect.
Me too. All right, so let's jump right in. The first one we're looking at is Endless Bliss with Gabriel and Kylie.
Okay.
They're all about making it happen fast and easy. In their videos, they lay out this 3-day challenge, and they really emphasize that it's a technique that can manifest money quickly.
3 days. That's a pretty bold claim.
Yeah, and they're not messing around. They're not talking about like finding a dollar on the street.
Right.
Gabriel actually says that he won the lottery using this method.
Oh, wow. So they lead with a personal anecdote. That's a classic way to draw people in.
Yeah, for sure. And he even like flashes the email in the video.
Oh, really?
Which I got to admit kind of adds to the whole thing.
Yeah, it gives it that kind of like, this could be you vibe.
Exactly.
Both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hold on, because they don't just rely on like stories and anecdotes. They bring in some science-y stuff too,
Yeah.
like neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to like adapt and change.
Okay. So are we talking like brain training for wealth?
Kind of. They don't go full-on science lecture on us,
Yeah.
but they use it to explain how repeating affirmations consistently can actually retrain your brain to like
Yeah.
attract wealth.
Now that's interesting. I mean, there's definitely truth to the idea that our thoughts and beliefs influence our actions
No, look.
and ultimately our outcomes.
Yeah, and they tie it to this thing called the reticular activating system, the RAS. It's basically this filter in your brain that decides what you pay attention to.
Oh, like how when you buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that same car everywhere you go?
Exactly. It's like your brain is tuned into it now.
Yeah.
And these YouTubers are saying you can do that with money-making opportunities.
So they're saying don't just wish for wealth, train your brain to see it everywhere. I like that. It's a proactive approach.
Right. But does it actually work? That's what we're trying to figure out. But before we go too deep into that, let's switch gears.
Okay.
Let's check out the other side of the manifesting coin.
All right.
We've got Light of Wisdom. Their approach is a little more hands-on. Let's just say if Gabriel and Kylie are all about rewiring your brain, Light of Wisdom is like a full-on kitchen renovation.
Ooh, feng shui.
Yeah, with a twist. They're all about transforming your kitchen into this like money magnet.
Okay, so it's not just about decluttering and good vibes. It's about attracting wealth specifically.
Exactly. And they break it down with very specific objects and what they symbolize. It's less about cooking a meal and more like creating a visual recipe for abundance.
I'm intrigued.
So get this, the first thing they say you need is a mirror behind the stove.
Okay, wait a minute. Isn't that a fire hazard?
It's funny, they don't even mention that. They're so focused on the symbolism.
So what's the symbolic meaning behind the mirror?
So in Feng Shui, burners are seen as a source of wealth. So the mirror doubles them visually. It's all about that like multiplying effect.
Ah, I see. So it's like visually amplifying the abundance.
Exactly. Okay, ready for the next ingredient?
Hit me.
You need a jar of honey. But not just for your tea.
Right,
It's about bringing in the sweetness,
right.
opportunities, good deals, all that good stuff.
I get it. Honey is often associated with prosperity and abundance, the sweetness of life.
Exactly. Then there's this gold or red bowl,
Hmm.
but it has to be overflowing with symbolic items.
Okay, like what?
Coins, of course, to attract money. Fruits for nourishment, and even specific stones like pyrite and citrine. They're said to amplify positive energy.
So it's a multi-sensory experience. The visual of the overflowing bowl, the colors, the textures, even the scent of the fruit. It's like immersing yourself in abundance.
Totally. It's like they're saying, don't just think about wealth. Surround yourself with it, even if it's just symbolic.
And I'm guessing there's more to this kitchen wealth magnet.
Oh, yeah.
What else is on their list?
Well, we've got lucky bamboo.
Ah, yes. Can't forget the lucky bamboo.
Right. And they emphasize that the number of stalks matters. Like 5 for balance, 6 for luck, 8 for abundance.
Yeah.
It's like they've created a whole language of bamboo.
It's interesting how they're taking these everyday objects and assigning them very specific meanings. But is it just superstition? Or is there something deeper going on?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're not done yet. There are a few more objects on the list, each with its own like symbolic meaning and ritual. Want to hear about the one that involves dissolving salt in water?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
So we've got Gabriel and Kylie all about affirmations, and then Light of Wisdom turning kitchens into like feng shui havens for wealth. I mean, on the surface, they seem pretty different, but I feel like there's some connections here.
Definitely. I think both of these approaches, even though they have their own style, they both tap into this really basic human desire to believe that we can like shape our own reality, you know?
It's like they're both saying, hey, you're not just stuck, you can change your financial situation.
Exactly. It's about empowerment
So
and giving people a sense of agency, especially when it comes to something like money that can be so stressful for so many people.
totally. And I think that's part of why these techniques can be so appealing, you know?
For sure. So think about it, Gabriel's 3-day challenge. It's all about surrounding yourself with this feeling of already having the money, like it's already yours, not just hoping for it. And then Light of Wisdom is all about physically surrounding yourself with these symbols of abundance.
Right. It's like they're both trying to hack into our subconscious minds.
Yeah, hacking might be a strong word, but they are definitely playing with some really powerful psychological principles, like, cognitive priming.
Okay, what's that?
So it's basically this idea that when you repeatedly expose yourself to a concept, even if you don't like fully believe it yet, it can actually start to change your associations on a subconscious level.
Okay, so even if I'm like, yeah, right, a jar of honey was going to bring me business deals, just having it there, seeing it every day, could start to shift how I think about possibilities.
Exactly. It's like planting those seeds in your mind. You might not see sprouts right away, but if you keep watering them with those rituals, those affirmations, those seeds can eventually grow into new beliefs and behaviors.
But I got to ask, isn't this just like superstition? I mean, do I really need to run out and get a porcelain piggy bank?
Well, I think it's good to be skeptical and question things, but objects themselves might not have any inherent power, but it's more about the rituals we do, the beliefs we attach to them that can shape our mindset. Throughout history, rituals have played a huge role in almost every culture.
Yeah, they give us a sense of structure and meaning, like we're taking control.
Exactly. And even if it's not about the piggy bank itself, the act of like putting money aside regularly, even if it's just a little bit, reinforces that belief that you're capable of saving and building wealth.
Yeah. And then Light of Wisdom
Yeah.
really stresses that consistency too. It's not just set it and forget it. You have to tend to your altar of prosperity, which I guess could be like a metaphor for how we manage our money in general.
Absolutely. It's a really powerful message about being proactive with your finances, not just hoping for the best, but actively making things happen.
This reminds me of the placebo effect, how people experience real benefits just because they believe they're getting a treatment, even if it's just a sugar pill.
It's amazing, isn't it, the power of belief? I mean, maybe these techniques, even if they sound a little out there, maybe they're working in a similar way.
So it's like those feng shui objects, they become this visual reminder of my goals,
Mhm.
and they keeps me focused, motivated, and maybe even a little more optimistic.
Right, they become like anchors for our intentions.
Okay, but there's got to be more to it than just thinking positive thoughts, right? I can't just visualize $1 million and poof, it appears in my bank account.
Well, that's where we get into the self-fulfilling prophecy. Our beliefs, they can actually influence our actions, and then those actions lead to outcomes that reinforce those beliefs. It's a cycle.
So if I believe I'm bad with money, I might be subconsciously making choices that keep me stuck.
Yeah, exactly. Or the opposite, if you believe you can attract wealth, you might be more likely to take risks, invest in yourself, go after opportunities you wouldn't have considered before. It's about aligning your actions with what you want to achieve.
So it's more than just wishful thinking. It's about creating this whole mental and emotional environment that supports positive outcomes.
Right, and that's where the rituals come in repeating affirmations, changing the salt in your wealth bowl. All those actions reinforce your beliefs on a deeper level.
It's funny, a lot of people might think these techniques are kind of woo-woo or superstitious, but when you really break them down, there's a lot of psychology at play.
Absolutely. They're drawing on these ancient traditions, but also on these fundamental principles of how our minds work and how we behave. It's about using that knowledge to make positive changes.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, the different techniques, the beliefs behind them, and even some psychology. But what does this actually mean for our listener? The person at home trying to figure out their own financial journey.
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's the one we're going to explore next as we move from all this theory into some practical applications.
Stay tuned because we're going to break down some key takeaways and help you figure out what might actually work for you. All right, so we've explored these manifesting techniques, the beliefs, the psychology. It's a lot to take in.
It is, and you're probably thinking, okay, but can I actually use any of this in my own life?
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the details. Do I need a certain kind of piggy bank? Does the honey have to be organic?
Right. But what you can really take away from all of this is understanding that your mindset is a huge factor in your financial journey.
Like you can visualize abundance all you want, but if you're not actually budgeting, saving, looking for opportunities, it's probably not going to just magically appear in your bank account.
Exactly. It's about balance, inner work, and outer action. Go ahead and surround yourself with those symbols of wealth, but you got to plant those seeds of financial well-being in the real world too.
So it's not about passively hoping. It's about actively creating the conditions for success.
Precisely taking responsibility for your financial future, and if these techniques resonate with you, using them as tools to support that process.
One thing that really stuck with me is the emphasis on gratitude. Both Gabriel and Kylie and Light of Wisdom, they both talk about how important it is.
Gratitude is so powerful, especially when it comes to money. It's so easy to get caught up in what we don't have,
Yeah.
comparing ourselves to others, feeling like it's not enough. But shifting that focus to what we do have, even the small things, can make a big difference.
It's like instead of being jealous of my neighbor's new car, I can choose to appreciate my old one. That still gets me around reliably. It's a subtle shift, but it can really change your whole outlook.
And it's not just about feeling grateful, it's about acting on that gratitude. How can you use what you have, no matter how much or how little, to create more abundance, not just for yourself, but for others too?
That's a good point. It's not just about accumulating wealth. It's about using it in a way that aligns with your values, maybe that's donating to a cause, supporting local businesses, helping a friend out.
Exactly. So as you think about all these different manifestive techniques, ask yourself what feels right for you, what feels authentic and empowering.
And what doesn't, it's okay to be skeptical,
Hmm.
to pick and choose what works for you and leave the rest.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to buy into every ritual or believe every symbolic meaning to get something out of this.
Absolutely. You have to think critically, especially when it comes to something as personal as your finances.
It's like trying on clothes. Some things fit perfectly, some things are totally wrong. And that's okay. It's about finding what feels good for you, what aligns with your values.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought. Even if you fully believe you can manifest money, what are you actually doing to achieve your financial goals?
It's not enough to just wish for it. You have to take action.
Exactly, bridging that gap between intention and action. What's one small step you can take today to move closer to your goals?
Maybe it's finally making that budget or looking into different investment options or talking to a financial advisor.
It's about taking that first step and then another one and another one, consistently moving forward.
I love that small, consistent actions driven by belief in yourself, that's how you create real change.
So as you go about your day, keep that in mind. What small, meaningful action can you take today to create more financial well-being in your life?
And we want to hear from you. Have you tried any manifesting techniques? What worked, what didn't? Share your experiences, your insights, your questions in the comments.
We're all in this together, and learning from each other is so valuable.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into manifesting money. Until next time, keep those good vibes flowing and those financial goals growing.
And remember, true abundance starts from within.
See you next time.